Hey everyone, Disi here from YGG Esports, and here's our third video for Parallel Rookie Mode series. Today's deck will be the Shroud starter deck. It is a control deck, so its playstyle would be on the defensive and reactive side until you can take over in the late game. It is also versatile in the sense that it can be played aggressively depending on your mulligan phase and in the turn order. Shroud starter deck's Paragon is Brand. Its passive ability gives you a 4/4 corrupted vision in your singularity. Also, when one of your units destroy an enemy unit in combat, units in your singularity get a 1/0 buff. Meanwhile, its active ability is when Brand damages another unit on the field, it removes that unit from the game and adds one 4/4 corrupted vision in your singularity. And when Brand gets destroyed, all of the corrupted visions in your singularity will be played onto the field. There are two game mechanics revolving around Shroud starter deck. First is the banish mechanic. When units are destroyed, they normally go to the waste. But if units are banished, they will go to the singularity instead. Second one would be singularity. You can consider singularity as a special graveyard or waste for Shroud decks. Here are the high valued cards for this deck. For the universal cards, we have Mercenary Gunslinger and PS8 Launcher. For the Shroud cards, we have Singularity Steward, Honored Steward, Sacred Siphoner, Siphon, Erasure, and Democlarize. Now, let's discuss the early game approach of Shroud starter deck. First, on mulligan phase, we want to get the 1-cost units paired with our Siphon or PS8 Launcher and even an Erasure for a good curve at the start. You can play aggressively at the start if you can get Singularity Steward with Siphon or Erasure. Banking with Shroud involves understanding which cards do not provide immediate value depending on your opponent's tempo. So normally, you would bank cards that are very high cost, card draws, and even slow tempo units. Siphon and Erasure would be the easiest way for you to put enemy units in your singularity. You can also do this by utilizing the musters of Void Runner and Void Touch Novice to banish your enemy units. Early game of Shroud can vary a lot on different games. Reacting to your opponent's play is the key to push into the mid game and late game smoothly. Remember, health is also a resource that you can give up to save cards in your hand. Going to the mid and late game, gauging if you can play Brand at 5 energy would be crucial in your game. If your opponent has a very low chance of taking out Brand upon playing it, that would be a good opening for you to utilize Brand's active ability. Brand's presence on the board puts so much pressure on your opponent, and getting value from its active ability is the key on taking the mid and late game. After you've stacked your singularity, playing cards from it with Unseen Allies or Sacred Siphoner would help you manage hand resource. Singularity Steward is one of the most crucial cards in the Shroud deck. It can be utilized in the early, mid, or even in the late part of the game. One thing to note when you plan to play it is to make sure that you can banish an enemy unit within the next turns. Being able to buff Singularity Steward multiple times would give you so much tempo in the game. Saving up Honored Stewards to take out Paragons is one of the most efficient ways of playing it. If your board is swamped by enemy units, Democlarize is a good way to reset the board. So, capping off Shroud's gameplay, playing reactive early and transitioning into the mid game with Brand is our ideal scenario to utilize our Singularity in the late game. Alright, that sums up our guide for Shroud starter deck, and I hope you got an idea on its gameplay transitions. If you want some extra apparition packs in-game, you can use my referral code, which should be right here. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section down below. DM me on Twitter or visit me on my streams on Twitch. And do not forget to follow YGG socials. And if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the next Rookie Mode videos. Thank you for watching and see you guys on the next one.